Okay, so again, we'll just be going over the AMA questions first, be answering all of those. Actually, first I'll give a brief overview of what this idea is, then I'll get into the AMA questions. I'll bring up some ideas I have that I've been thinking of over the past few days to, I guess, roll out this idea, and then we can have a discussion in the AMA questions channel where we can bounce ideas off of each other and try to refine this idea. So, essentially what this idea is, we'd be making a separate collection of NFTs, probably like 50,000 NFTs or something like that, just a large number of NFTs to allow scalability. We don't really want there to be a limit on how many people can actually participate in this collection. So we'll have around 50,000 NFTs. All of the capital raised from the NFT sales will be completely invested in masternode projects. We'll be following the proven portfolio of yield nodes. Um, their portfolio consists entirely of masternodes. So what we'll be doing is essentially taking their portfolio as listed on their website as kind of a roadmap to success for our project. So we'll be investing the capital raised equally among all of these different masternode projects, and on a bi-weekly basis, we'll be collecting all of the revenue generated, and we'll be splitting it up either 90 or 85% profits go towards the investors, and I was thinking we could maybe do 5%. We could put that back into the initial collections treasury, and 10% have that as a team allocation for any future developments, advertising, as well as just team pay in general. So that's the basic idea. Um, I also have a few ideas of how we could make this a little bit easier for the average investor. So we're thinking of making the initial price of an NFT around $50, just to allow a low entry point for people to get in. But as brought up by a few different people, this would bring up an issue whereby it would definitely help out smaller scale investors. They'd have the low entry point. But for someone who wanted to say invest $10,000 or $20,000, they'd be stuck with dozens of NFTs, and if they wanted to exit their position, they'd therefore have to sell dozens of NFTs on the marketplace. So my idea for a solution to this problem was doing something similar to what Universe, I think it was like Universe.money is what the project was called, where you could mint an NFT, and with their native token, you could essentially put that on the NFT, and the yield you would earn was reflective or based on how much liquidity you had locked on the NFT. So I was thinking maybe we could do something similar to that, whereby we could have an even lower NFT mint price, maybe, I don't know, $25. And then from there, people would be able to then put more money on their NFT instead of uh, minting dozens of NFTs if they were trying to invest, let's say, over $1,000 or something like that. So that was just an idea I had. Yeah, I think that basically summarizes the project idea.
Hey, Kyle, would there be a cap to that?
I didn't have a cap in mind for that, so the only issue I guess that would bring as well is, like, let's say someone put $50,000 on an NFT. That'd be pretty difficult for someone to um, sell on the market if they're trying to exit their position. So maybe a cap would be um, necessary, or would help the average investor if we were to cap it at like $1,000 or something per NFT. But I think this would also really help with scaling, so we wouldn't have to sell, so that someone wouldn't have to buy $10,000 worth of $50 NFTs. Instead, they could possibly purchase like just 10 NFTs and put $1,000 on each. So cap might be necessary. Maybe we'll do like $1,000 or something like that.
That sounds good to me. I mean, so that addresses both getting in lower for the smaller investors and efficiency for the large. So yeah, but yeah, I just didn't want some actual whale. Sorry, not the pun. To come in and take up most of the opportunity from the rest of the investors.
Right. Okay, so I'm just gonna go into the AMA questions and start reading down the list. Taz, instead of 90% payout, why not 70 to 80%? Use that 10 to 20 to get more nodes or do something more to increase payouts. So, in terms of compounding, um, I like the idea of what yield nodes does. We're just taking all of the profit and divvying that up. There's no compounding. With our initial collection, that's pretty much our bread and butter for that collection. I want to make it distinct from this secondary collection. I want the growth potential for our initial collection to be, through the roof, but I kind of want to cap the potential growth for our secondary collection to make it more of just a stable passive income source for those investing in it. So if we were to um, implement some sort of compounding feature, well, not compounding, but like taking a portion of the money earned from the investor's pocket and putting it back into the protocol, it would be kind of similar to what we're already doing with our initial collection. I want to make this a completely separate thing whereby someone can earn a decent yield, a competitive yield to yield nodes, while having a low point of entry and yeah, just providing a competitive service to yield nodes whereby there's no barrier to entry with KYC or locking up your funds or anything like that. So I think we're gonna stick with just taking out profit and feeding as much as we can directly back to the investors. Brooklyn, where will the marketing budget come from? Would it be possible to build in a compounding option into the NFT? So the marketing budget will likely be coming from just the team allocation from the initial collection that we have built up so far. Would it be possible to build in compounding? So what I was thinking is in terms of compounding, it wouldn't be an automatic feature, but let's say if we're paying out bi-weekly, someone could use the profits generated sent to their wallet to then just add that into their NFT. So like I said initially, we'll make the NFT price like 25 or $50 and then people can load up their NFT with um, a stable currency up to a certain point. So I think that would be a solution for people to be able to compound. It just wouldn't be a completely hands-off process. Taz, whitelists for owners of current NFTs and max per wallet ideas. So I was mulling over the thought of like how we could reward um, investors from our initial collection with this secondary collection, and every idea that came to mind, it just kind of seemed detrimental to the future of this secondary collection. So if we were to give out, let's say, free NFTs to every holder in our initial collection, we'd be giving around like $30,000 at the minimum, and that money would have to come from investors after the fact, which would kind of make the service not competitive with existing projects like yield nodes. We want to be competitive right out the gate, as well as if or if we were to give a discount like a $5 discount or something like that on mints. This again would, I think, have a extremely negative impact on the secondary collection. So I don't think we'll be giving any benefits to holders of our initial collection. But that being said, this secondary collection will be benefiting every single holder of our initial collection by feeding into the treasury on a biweekly basis uh, with both. I'm thinking of taking 8% of the profits from the secondary collection on a biweekly basis, putting that money into the treasury, as well as all royalty fees accumulated from the secondary collection will be going into the treasury. So I think this will in turn help out every single holder of our initial collection.
Excuse me, Kyle.
Yep.
Uh, what about? I mean, I'm not sure if they were referring to a non-monetary benefit for the current holders. Just maybe a first shot at the minting before the rest of the public that are non-holders to get a chance to mint the new collection.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Everyone from our
that
initial. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, that's what I meant by there, like whitelist for the current members, so that we have a first chance to get them. So we buy them at the regular price, no matter what. But we guaranteed at least for like the first 2-3 days whitelist for us to be able to purchase them, and like the cap per wallet or whatever is what I meant.
Yeah, I hear you. I definitely want every single person from our initial collection to be able to get their hands on at least one NFT from this collection. I do not have any fear that this collection will sell out quickly, uh, just by the sheer amount of NFTs we'll be selling, probably around 50,000, as well as providing the utility for the people to be able to load up like individual NFTs instead of buying a massive amount of NFTs to achieve the same end, essentially. So I think what we'll be doing with this secondary collection is releasing it initially without any promotion or anything like that. So just mentioning it on Twitter, and of course alerting our Discord server so that all of you guys can really get in first and be the ground users, um, essentially proving that our system works. And after, let's say, a month of our collection working, everything's going smoothly, and we can, I guess, back our APR with statistics gathered, then we can start doing promotion, basically proving that our product works and explaining why it's competitive to existing services. So I think releasing this before doing promotion for the project will definitely give everyone that's already hands-on with our project and our initial collection that head start. So you guys will definitely all be able to access this product and essentially know about it before anyone else does. So you guys will really be the ground users.
Right, but the problem with that I see is even if you open up to Discord and you open up so let us know, then you have everybody in Discord could be telling everybody else. That's why I was asking like 2-3 days whitelist, be early, so we guarantee we get into the ground floor. Because you posted in the Discord, you never know how many people are there. Plus, you got all these other Discords where people are together saying, "Hey, this is coming out. Put your money in this, and hopefully get as much as you can before anybody else can."
Okay. Yeah, for sure. I hear you. Yeah, we can definitely do a whitelist. That won't be too much of an issue. Give a couple days for our initial collection holders to be able to purchase some NFTs. So yeah, that won't be an issue. I'll definitely do that for you guys.
Yeah, because that's what I was talking about for like the whitelist. Make sure we're able to get in because I know I've seen in Discord once somebody posts something in Discord saying it's open, then they have like these Discord groups where everybody's like, "Hey, this is the thing. Go put your money in and get it before anybody else can." It's only been announced in this one Discord, but there's no whitelist. There's nothing. So people previously bought in might not be able to get in. Sometimes that happens and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. We'll make a whitelist to ensure that everybody can get their hands on one that's a holder of our initial collection for sure. Get that.
For
Okay.
what it's worth,
All right,
I
well,
don't
thank
feel
you.
like a white. I reckon you might create more demand by having no whitelist, especially if there's a huge number of NFTs. I don't feel like they're going to sell out. It's particularly if there's no cap on. Oh, let's say you can load up funds on an individual NFT. Sometimes a whitelist like disincentivizes people to actually join a project because they feel like they're already disadvantaged compared to the people who are the privileged few that get in at the beginning. So that's just a vote on my behalf that I wouldn't mind if there wasn't a whitelist personally.
Well, there's a big difference between a whitelist for like pre-sale of tokens as opposed to like an NFT going out that the price isn't going to change. Where whitelist for tokens is a lot different because people buy them at like 50 cents and then they're released for like $2-3. Then you're not incentivized to actually get it. But for NFTs, if it's the same price no matter what, there's really nothing saying disincentivizing you to actually get a whitelist or not because it's going to be the same for everyone no matter what.
Yeah, no, I understand the point you're making. Yeah, I just don't think they're going to sell out if there's 50,000 of them. There's a, there's a lot of places for people to be parking their capital at the moment. I think people mainly are going to want to see proof of concept on the overall idea, and so I think that the main advantage that we're going to see for tier one, version one holders is going to be that crucial sweet spot of having some of the capital out of project two, version two, compounding back into project one, into version one. And that's where we're going to see a super benefit for the value of the scarce asset, which is the sort of version one. But I'd be super surprised to see 50,000 NFTs sell out, within 3 days.
Yeah, for sure. I hear both sides of. I hear both of your points, and they are valid points. So we'll see what the community wants. I'm not opposed to creating a whitelist. I don't think it would necessarily do any harm. Just including a whitelist, if it would make the community happy, for sure. Maybe a couple days before the project actually launches, we can give the opportunity for people to get their NFTs if that's what they want, and then when we launch the project, have it open to everybody so that people from our collection already have the NFTs, but then the public mint would be open. So we have a couple different options to appease everybody. Um, so yeah, I think it'll work out for us. Okay, Flacco. Are payouts going to be done in the same way as we're currently doing payouts? Is it still much like a lottery? No, so this will be a completely different concept whereby every holder will be paid out on a biweekly basis. So this will be pretty much a passive income stream for all of the holders. So the payment will likely be in a stable coin, the same coin used to mint the NFTs. I'm thinking USDT.E. So if that's what we choose for minting, that'll be what the payout is, and it'll be on a bi-weekly basis. Mike13, what project has released a V2 and succeeded? Once V2 is announced, it kills most projects. I hear your point. A lot of projects that have released a second mint usually don't fare too well. However, this isn't necessarily a V2. We're trying to create something completely separate from our initial product to appease more people and bring more people under the Node Whales umbrella. So I know a lot of people were kind of turned off from the project initially because it wasn't guaranteed passive income for all holders. It was kind of like, the luck of the draw type of idea, whereby this collection, I feel like we can really bring in a lot more people to get more eyes on our initial collection and at the same time create another revenue stream for our initial collection. So I don't think this will be detrimental to our initial collection. I think it'll definitely, like I said, bring in another revenue stream and help grow our treasury faster, as well as provide a passive income stream that people can believe in and rely on, similar to what Yield Nodes does, but we're essentially trying to break down all the barriers that Yield Nodes presents for the average investor. So I hope that answers that question.
Will they be called something different, or will they be called like Node Whales V2? Like, I'm just thinking like maybe Yield Whales, or I don't know if there's a good name that we could really differentiate them with.
So after this AMA, I'll be opening a channel. We're gonna be doing a contest to come up with the best name. So I'll be picking a bunch of different suggestions from this channel, and we'll be doing a vote to see what the community thinks is best. And whoever wins, I'll send them one AVAX. So that's how we'll be naming this collection. But yeah, I'd like to stick with the theme of whales because that's what we'll be reusing some of the NFT art, like the assets, we'll be using the character models. I think that's about it. I'll be ordering some new assets from our artists, probably just one static background, as well as like some new shirts and stuff like that to give it kind of a different look, but still with the whole Node Whales kind of theme. So,
Okay, cool.
okay, keep going through these questions. Taz, talking about the snapshots. Okay, let me just explain the snapshots. So we'll be following a system kind of similar to what Yield Nodes does, just so that we can ensure the payouts to each holder.
That was a reply to the previous question you answered. If you look at it,
Oh, okay, we're good on that.
yeah, because I was replying because somebody else asked about the snapshot, and I replied back saying about the snapshot and how it's the 1st and 15th, and then I posted the part from your Medium article in there.
Okay, cool, awesome. Flacco, will there be any perks to being a current whale holder by the time this new collection comes out? So the only, I guess, perks you could say, as I iterated in the beginning, was just that this new collection will be helping feed the treasury of our initial collection. We won't be having any like discounts or sales or anything like that. There likely will be early access to initial holders for them to mint this secondary collection, but that's about it. What would Coffee and Crypto, what would differentiate NFTs that have been added to visual representation on the NFT, or would it be purely numerical? Yeah, so it'll be similar to um, our initial collection where, NFTs are numerical, but if we were to implement the ability for people to load uh, additional funds onto their NFT, let's say with a max of $1,000, there would be an attribute that reflects the amount accumulated or stored on that NFT. And through the marketplace, you'd be able to sort the different NFTs by how much locked value is on each NFT. So they would all look the same, but you would definitely be able to sort through them differently on the NFT marketplace. Flacco, will you be able to make a guide on how to set up for those who aren't tech savvy? Yeah, I was thinking that on like our mint page or whatever, just like a quick video explaining how this collection works. If we had the ability to add additional funds onto each NFT, that would be explained and shown through a quick tutorial. Um, yeah, so we'll definitely be doing that. DD Crypto, a benefit for current whale holders could be just to ensure they have the ability to get some of the new allocation. Yep, for sure. Flacco, will you provide a breakdown / cheat sheet on how much you would earn in passive income per NFT or however the setup works? Yeah, for sure, we can do that. Get it like an average built out. We'll be splitting our investment evenly across all of the different masternode projects that are available. So we'll likely be averaging pretty close to what yield nodes is. So at the moment, like just under 100% APR. That's before compounding. If we allow for users to be able to add additional funds to their NFT, the APR will obviously be a lot higher if they're to compound every payment period. DD Crypto, for a large NFT loaded up to 10K perhaps, can't be broken down later into smaller portions. Yeah, so I think to get around that, what we do is set like a maximum amount of like maybe $1,000 per NFT, because I still think that's a reasonable amount for someone to want to purchase off the secondary market at a slight discount. I think anything above that would be a little bit too much and probably take somebody quite a long time to be able to exit their position and find a buyer for that NFT. Cosmic Renegade. Will you use names already suggested, and will they be included on a list, or do we have to repost them somewhere? I know a couple of you guys suggested some names in the last call. I can't exactly remember who suggested what, but yeah, I'll just have to repost them. I'll be creating a channel for you guys to post your suggestions, and then we'll be doing a community vote to see what name everyone thinks is the best. And then the winner of that contest will be getting 1 AVAX. Gaddy. Can we have it so it's different tiers if you compound X times or X amount locked? Can go from a small whale slash fish or killer whale or something in the end. I don't really see. I can see that being cool, kind of like what Universe.money did, but there's no real benefit or anything like that to actually compounding onto your NFT. I think the only difference will be the attribute showing how much money is locked on each NFT. As you're compounding, there's no there's no added percent bonus in how much you make or anything like that. So I think we'll just stick to the money locked attribute, and there won't be any visual differences. Coffee and crypto. Okay, cool. So would that mean loading up one NFT would need to be done in set increments of 25 or 50 rather than how yield nodes you can add down to the cent? I don't think we'll necessarily need to keep it as like a round number. Like you could definitely probably compound, add $523.48 like you said. Um, I don't think there will be increments per se, just like a max limit. So if it's $50, you can add, if let's say the cap is $1,000, you'd be able to add a max of $950. DD Crypto, the initial proposal said 50,000 NFTs at $50 should be 2.5 mil. That's correct. By adding more onto an NFT, the cap of 50,000 NFTs. Sorry, is the cap 50,000 NFTs or 2.5 mil? So the cap would be 50,000 NFTs. That's just a number I threw out there as we don't necessarily want to mint out all of the NFTs. You want to be able to provide enough room and scalability for lots of new users to be able to be onboarded onto the project. So the cap would be 50,000 NFTs. There's no monetary cap being set. Obviously, it could go a lot higher if we were to mint out 50,000 and people were loading extra amounts onto each NFT. So yeah, there will be an NFT cap, and that's it. Flacco, do you have a soft date when you plan to roll this out? I was thinking we could definitely get this done by early next month and roll it out then. If not, maybe a second or third week latest next month. Um, yeah, this definitely the most complicated part would be creating something similar to what Universe did, Universe.money, with the adding funds to an existing NFT. But once that's squashed, the rest would be pretty straightforward. So I'm thinking early next month, maybe mid to late next month at the latest.
Have you looked into this? Is kind of similar to what Taco Nodes is doing. If you've seen that.
No, I've heard of it. I haven't looked into it though.
Yeah, well, they mint the original 500, and then like every other week they're giving prizes out like what you do. But then once they go into phase 3 and they mint like the last 5,000 of them, they're going into every other week. They're giving proceeds to everybody, no matter from whatever they made, along with every the weeks when they don't give to everyone, they're doing special prizes to like the original 500 OGs, like OG tacos.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. I guess that's kind of similar to what we want to do long term with our initial collection. But so what are you suggesting? Sorry.
Now, I'm just wondering if you got this idea from like watching like Taco Nodes, well, Taco NFT, which is now like Taco Financial, and they're because they changed because they're giving out more money now. If you saw it from that, or something you just came up with yourself.
I just kind of thought of it while I was laying on the couch for a few days with COVID. The inspiration, I guess you could say, was yield nodes. I was thinking, how could we, because, we're investing now with our initial collections portfolio into the same projects that yield nodes is. And I was just thinking how we could solve the issues that yield nodes presents for the average low-end investor, and just make it a lot easier and pretty much provide a competitive service to yield nodes. And that's kind of where I just got the idea for the secondary collection. All right. Do you guys have any questions or suggestions? Things that maybe you'd like to see as part of this new collection, or anything you have issues with as part of this new collection?
On the taco finance point, is there an advantage to sort of releasing NFTs in batches like that? Because it seems like, like you go into mint something and there's 50,000 unsold. You sort of, I remember with the Tavern when they had a problem with their second release, basically, where they were so many available and they just weren't selling because basically people were going in seeing there was so many there. So it felt like the market had already commented that they weren't really very scarce or valuable, and that's why they hadn't sold out. So I'm just wondering, could there be an advantage to, like, I don't know, releasing a batch of, you know 10K or 5K, and then, because there's no real disadvantages there to basically releasing another batch, because it's just everybody's just receiving a percentage return like yield nodes. Because I guess the other thing I was thinking is that people are going to be going, like, weighing up, like, I guess, smart contract risk and counterparty risk against, why don't I just go and invest in yield nodes where I can cash out, um, totally liquid, reinvest quite easily, totally liquid, without exposure to another project. So I guess we got to think of an advantage. Obviously, the NFT provides an advantage that you don't have to KYC and you don't have to do all that stuff. So, but just to kind of get the project hyped, I feel like if people are going to the landing page and it says like 700 out of 50,000 NFTs have been sold, maybe they go, oh, I don't have time to do research on it, but maybe people aren't that interested, and it might not actually generate that flywheel momentum. I don't know. I'm just wondering whether or not there might be a sort of progressive release ability.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I mean, it does help sustain FOMO. We don't necessarily need FOMO in a project like this. It's similar to, yield nodes. There's no real advantage of getting in early besides starting to earn that passive income. But on your point of, yield nodes being uh, liquid, like you can take your money out, put it back in, or, vice versa. Uh, I'd say our project is definitely more liquid than yield nodes. When you first deposit into yield nodes, there's a 6-month lockup period for your funds, whereby if you're going to withdraw, you're taking a hit of up to 25% on your investment. And I think that's one of the major benefits of our project in comparison to yield nodes, whereby you could likely sell your NFT at like a 5 or 6% loss and exit your position within a few hours to maybe a few days. Um, but yeah, as you said with your point on, you know, releasing batches, that's definitely possible. It's something we could do. It wouldn't be too hard to accomplish that.
Yeah, I see a lot of like NFTs that have a lot like high levels. They release them in batches so that they can be like, all right, we have 1,000 this week, and we're not gonna have another for like another month. So get in now while you can. And what they do is they use that money and they give out like money every week to people that hold the NFTs. So you have more value. So you're waiting for the next batch to release if you want to get in, get more money.
Yeah, I hear you. The batches definitely help with some projects. I'm not entirely familiar with taco nodes and if there's a benefit to getting in earlier or whatnot, but
Well, for taco nodes, there was a benefit. Like if you were in the first 500, you get extra draws. But along with that, they also have like Dark Forest, which has their NFTs that give you money every week, and they only release like 1,000 a time, like every 2 to 3 weeks. And for each NFT you own in that, you get USDC given to you. So that's another one that's giving you weekly rewards that they're releasing like 1,000 at a time every like once a month. And that's what they're doing. And then Taco knows they only gave like 500 out originally to get their treasury up, and then they're going to release, and I think it's like 5,000 more over like 6 months, just so that people. So you're looking at it and you're like, oh, all right, these are already gone. I have to wait to the next batch and hope that you actually get in.
yeah, I think it might be beneficial for us to, uh, let's say initially for like the first month or two, or leading up to the project launch, we set a cap of maybe 1,000 NFTs, and that can be, I guess, the test case for the project to basically show that our concept works and it's paying out. And we can use that as like, I guess, example data when releasing the rest of our collection and running promotion and stuff like that. So I think it could be a good idea. It's definitely something we can do. Wouldn't be too hard to implement. But for the initial investors, there wouldn't be any, I guess, benefit you could say to getting in early with this project. We simply just want to provide a stable passive income stream for all of our investors in this secondary project.
Yeah, well, I understand like there's no benefit getting later or not, except you lose out in early. But if you release it in batches, then you got that scarcity tactic going on. So people are like, all right, it's only coming out in batches, and I've seen how much people made in like the first batch. So I want to make sure I get in the second batch before it's sold out, and the third, and so on.
Yeah, for sure. We can just we'll see what like a good batch number would be, I guess you could say. Um, and yeah, that's definitely something we could do.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, that would give the community a chance to, just do promoting forward node wells, and that'll help, of course, spread the hype a little bit more and attention towards our project.
Right, yeah. FOMO is never a bad thing to have. So yeah, I think we can definitely utilize that. Looks like we got a few more questions in the AMA questions channel.
Yeah, because 50,000 at once, like somebody said earlier, if only 1,000, 2,000 are sold, that's a lot of FUD. But if you're only releasing 1,000, 2,000, they sell out in like a couple of days or like a week, then people want to get the next batch before, especially once we have like 5, 10,000 out there or whatever, and we got the history.
Right. Flacco, there won't be any incentives on rare traits on the new NFTs. No. This will simply be a straight up passive income project. There won't be any benefits to each NFT. The amount you invest will simply determine how much you get in return. So the APR will be the same for everybody. How much you make, I guess, will be based on how many NFTs you have or how much you have deposited on your NFTs. Hot like fire, do you think you can create scarcity by starting with a high initial amount and subtracting one NFT every minute or something? Do you mean like a minting limit? Or I'm not quite sure what you meant by that. Like burning NFTs or coffee and crypto? How long will it take to masternode the raised funds? I know with yield nodes it takes 7 days. Uh, so I was thinking of every day simply investing the capital raised into masternoding projects. So the only barrier, the thing that takes the longest, is creating wallets for each of these masternoding projects and syncing them with their blockchain. After that, through iHostMN, you can make deposits fairly quickly. So it's definitely something we could do on a daily basis. But the reason for the snapshots on like the 1st and the 15th, as I said, was to essentially prevent people from, okay, let's say we're making payments on the 1st of every month and the 15th of every month. If someone were to mint on the, or if a lot of people were to mint on the 14th, they would then be scheduled to be paid out on the 15th. But that would dilute the payment for every single other NFT holder who's been holding for longer than the 2 week uh, duration, right? Because their funds wouldn't have had time to generate money for them to be paid out. So yeah, we'll be investing the money every day essentially, but we'll be doing snapshots on the 1st and 15th. So let's say we have a snapshot on the 1st. If you were minted before that, you'll get paid on the 15th. On the 15th, we'll have a snapshot. If you minted before that, you'll get paid out on the 1st, and it'll just go in a cycle like that. Guild King. Agreed. Do not want all 50K sitting out unsold. Smaller batches are definitely better. Okay, yeah. I hear you guys. That's definitely a good idea. I think we can definitely utilize the FOMO factor and work out at a good number for batch releases with these NFTs. Dolaro, if we mint in batches, how many whales would you have to mint to start the master nodes with only $50 a mint? So the deposit minimum for iHostMN is something like $1. So yeah, one NFT I guess would be the limit. It's not really There's not really a low end cap for the amount of NFTs. Like if we mint one, we could put that $50 to use, invest that right away, and then the one NFT holder would be earning passive income. So there's not really a minimum that we need to mint before investing the capital into these masternode projects. All right, so in my notes here, um, I have our naming contest scheduled. I also have the releasing in batches. Uh, I think there was another good idea presented. Am I missing something, guys? Was there something else said? Brooklyn, sorry I missed the beginning. What was the expected yield per week? It'll be very similar to yield nodes. So they're averaging, I think, like 7 to 8% uh, per week or per month. Sorry. So it'll be around under like I think on a yearly basis we can average between 80 to 110% APR at the very highest. So per week it'd be like 7 to 8.5% ish. Did I say week? I meant month. Sorry.
Hey, Cal, I know you talked about it earlier on about the reward split. Is that something we still need to vote on, or did we make a decision and I might have missed it?
Nope, we're still just passing around ideas. Nope, we're still just passing around ideas right now. So what I was thinking, we could still be competitive with yield nodes and provide the same revenue as yield nodes. So let's say 85% of the profits go towards investors. We could then put 5% directly into our treasury, scheduled, or sorry, allocated for our treasury on a bi-weekly basis, and then we leave the remaining 10% for the team allocation. Along with that, we could have the 5% royalty for NFT sales. We could have that going back into the initial collections treasury as well, or we could completely remove any NFT royalties and just rely on the 5% coming from the bi-weekly profits being generated. I think if we were to remove the royalties on all NFT sales, this would definitely give us a huge leg up on yield nodes, as people wouldn't be taking a 5% loss on top of whatever a loss they're selling their NFT at. But at the same time, I think it would be beneficial for the treasury. What do you guys think about that?
I'll vote for keeping that 5% to increase our treasury. I mean, for as far as royalties, yeah, I think that's still fair. It's not very much.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I feel like it's a really good opportunity to create a like huge amount of value in the secondary market of the tier one, the version one whales. And I think because overall, some people commenting I saw in the AMA questions list about oh well, when there's a V2, it kills the project, which is from what I've seen is often true, or at least it can be a risk for the value of the V1s. But it also could be in this instance because of the economics that you've proposed there with the 5% coming back into the treasury for the scarce V1s and also the 5% royalty. It actually could be the opposite of killing the project. I feel like it could actually provide a real boost to the value of the 1216 V1 node whales that are sort of the recipients of this ongoing flywheel from the passive income project back into the if it stays a lottery or however we continue to do the V1s. But I think that's the crucial thing for me. That's the main crucial thing that you've said in the AMA today is that breakdown of 85 5 10 with the 5% royalties. So yeah, I'd definitely be a fan of that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
All right, for the compound, you said we can compound our rewards until we hit like the max cap of like 1,000 or something. Once we hit the max cap and we can't compound anymore, would what we've earned automatically get sent to us when we hit the max, so that we can start compounding again the next week?
That might be an option for sure. What I was thinking is just people would then purchase another NFT to start loading that one up. Um, I think it could be possible for people to be able to, let's say, reset their NFT, and by that, it would take all of the capital off of their NFT except for the initial mint amount. That's not something I thought of, but I think it's definitely possible.
Yeah, because that could be like an option. Because if we're allowed to put compound and put, let's say we're earning like $20-$30 a week, once we hit the max 1,000, have an option to merge it, go to buy a new one, or have it come to us because it's a lot easier doing taxes like $1,000 every 3, 4, 5 months as opposed to buying another NFT and everything.
Right. Okay. I'll note that down.
Yeah, just an option be thrown out there where you have an option whether send to your wallet or buy a new one if there's any left to be minted or whatever.
You reckon as long as the system is not too complicated or like with too many details? Because I reckon one of the real value propositions is to try and make it as easy in and out as possible with still access to the same types of returns that you get from yield nodes. Because that's the that's the main selling point, isn't it? Just to make it like frictionless.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's why I was talking about. You can set up like a max you want to compound. Once it hits that max, it goes back to you in your wallet out of the NFT. Then you can start refilling it because it's easy to just say, hey, when I hit this amount of money, send it to my wallet or buy a new one. Just something that's automatically done for you.
Coffee and crypto. Is the only benefit to OG NFTs the 5% secondary market royalty? We're thinking of breaking down the bi-weekly profits from the secondary collection 85, 5, 10. So that 5% would be also rolled into the treasury of the initial collection. That's on top of the 5% royalties coming from the secondary market. If so, the OG NFTs wouldn't really benefit until the full allocation of version 2 is sold out. Because why would people not just mint new? Well, people would likely not mint a new one if the secondary market value was lower than the mint price, which I think will be happening. Because, why would someone mint or why would someone buy an NFT off the secondary market when they can mint one at, mint price? If the secondary market is above mint price, people will simply mint. However, when people want to exit their positions, they'll likely sell at a loss so that they can, recoup that initial, and that'll provide an advantage for anyone wanting to get a cheap NFT. They'll be able to get it at a slight discount off the secondary market. So I think that's what will really drive the secondary market sales. Dolaro, since the second set will be based on the yield nodes model, will the V1 investments move away from yield node type investments? No, so we'll keep the current strategy of investing in, projects that provide real utility, as I think that's the way for long-term sustainability. The main difference will be the compounding that we do with our initial collection. So the growth potential will basically be infinite. Um, and with the secondary collection, the potential income will be essentially limited at how much is invested. And the initial investment of anyone from the secondary collection, the growth or the amount they can earn will be based on how much they initially invested, and there won't be any multiplying factor on that over time. Whereby with our initial collection, we're compounding every week. Eventually, the revenue generated is going to be much higher per NFT than our secondary collection. All right, so you guys have presented some good ideas. I appreciate it. So I think we're gonna limit the total put on each NFT at like 1K or something like that. Likely sell the NFTs in batches, release them in batches. We're gonna have the naming competition released shortly after this call, and the idea to withdraw a deposited balance from the NFT. That's something I'd have to work out, but got that idea listed as well. You guys have any other ideas or things you'd like to see? Guild King, how will you decide which specific coins to do? There are like 18 Deconomy coins. I think other coins besides Deconomy. Yeah, so we'll mostly be going with the Deconomy coins. As well, we'll be picking how we will be deciding which ones to go with will be based off of Yield Nodes' portfolio. All of the projects that they're invested in, they've been invested in most of them for a while, and they've pretty much proven those coins as being able to provide stable and consistent return on investment. So those are the ones we'll be going with. Flacco, with releasing in batches idea, will you still do the whitelist for V1 holders? Yeah, so we're thinking of giving like a few day grace period before we actually launch the collection, where initial holders will be able to get their hands on an NFT, and whatever amount is minted from initial collection holders will be included in the batch. So let's say we set like a 2,000 batch or a 1,000 batch for the initial sale, and all of those are minted by whitelist users, then when we launch, I guess we won't have any NFTs to sell. But yeah, so I think they'll be included in the batch. Dolaro, is there going to be a sliding AVAX amount to keep the price of the NFTs the same? So we're thinking of doing the minting process, making it accept a stable coin so that the price is always the same. But on the secondary market, I believe, I don't think you can use a stable coin to set the price and whatnot, so that may be an issue. You know, people will have to keep track of what AVAX is worth to get an exact price or an exact return on their NFT. But yeah, we're thinking of releasing the mint using a stable coin. Alright guys, I think this has been a pretty productive call. Love the ideas that have been brought forth and the questions. Thank you to everyone who asked. If there's any more questions, feel free to post them in the AMA questions channel or turn on your mic. I'd love to answer them before we wrap this up. It just seems the questions and suggestions are kind of coming to a halt here. So if you do have any, please feel free to ask them. I'll get those answered. And I definitely love suggestions. So if you have any, feel free to speak out. All right. I think we'll wrap it up then. So thank you everybody for actually coming out and joining the call. All the questions are appreciated and suggestions likewise. So thank you guys. I think once we start doing some work on the second collection, getting it closer to becoming finished, we'll do another AMA where we can go over some stuff, some more ideas, like progress reports and stuff like that. But I think for now, we're good. So yeah, thanks again, everybody. I'll catch you guys later.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Everybody have a great day.
You too.
You too, brother.